For all the times we have relied on firefighters, they couldn't always rely on a system that was supposed to help them if they got cancer. As high-profile criminal fentanyl cases make headlines, we take a look at why holding people accountable is so tricky as fentanyl keeps taking its toll on Colorado. One of Colorado's congressional races could decide who controls Congress. A race getting a lot of money and attention is also leading to some misleading ads, so let's put them to the truth test. Early intervention and help can make such a big difference for kids with dyslexia. But first, you have to know what's going on. And a group wanted to hop their way into the record books one hopscotch square at a time. That's next. Today, prosecutors announced new charges against two parents. Parents now charged for murder after their daughter died because of fentanyl earlier this year. She wasn't quite 2 years old when she died. There was a moment today that made us stop and think about the magnitude of what is happening in Colorado.
I don't believe this is the first murder charge related to fentanyl in the state of Colorado. It is the first one that I am aware of involving a young child, and I believe it's the first that I am aware of this nature anywhere in the country.
We have talked too many times about kids who have found fentanyl and have heard a lot of talk about the efforts to go after the people making it and selling it. Now, this case happened before Colorado's new fentanyl law, so it wouldn't have impacted the charges. But at the end of the day, whether it was before or after, these cases are hard to prosecute.
You know, it's often difficult to link that distributor, the dealer, to the pill that caused the death of somebody.
Here's the hard part. You have to show the person who is distributing the pill knew it was fentanyl, which means you have to be able to prove that they didn't think it was an actual Xanax pill, for example.
So you just heard from Republican 18th Judicial District Attorney John Kellner and Democratic Attorney General Phil Weiser. They are running against each other for Attorney General. They don't see eye to eye on the new fentanyl law, which could become a major issue in this November's races. But both said before the new law, there weren't direct criminal charges linking distributing fentanyl to someone's death. Even after the law, proving that connection will be hard. What is changing is how investigations are being handled, a change to calling them fentanyl poisoning instead of overdoses, a renewed effort to go after distributors and using child abuse charges to hold people accountable. But those on the front lines have long been worried that this new law will get the wrong people in trouble and that people will not be calling for help during an overdose out of fear of legal problems. Well, the district attorney who resigned in disgrace over accusations of how he treated victims of crime has now been disbarred from practicing law. According to court documents, a judge had revoked the license for Alonzo Payne, the former Democratic DA for the San Luis Valley. He resigned this summer after an investigation found that he yelled at and belittled crime victims. Investigators also found that he didn't consult victims when it came to plea deals or dismissing cases, and also left legal documents untouched for months. The disbarment documents say that Payne's actions hurt law enforcement as well as his community. There is a new poll that is suggesting Colorado voters are ready to re-elect two top Democrats. This poll showing the top two races in this year's midterms in Colorado don't seem to be close. The poll shows Governor Jared Polis with nearly 17-point lead over Republican challenger Heidi Ganahl. Nearly 53% of voters surveyed said that they would vote for Governor Polis if the elections were held today, compared to 36% for Ganahl. And Republican Senate candidate Joe O'Dea not faring much better. The poll puts him 10 points behind Democratic Senator Michael Bennet. The deciding factor in both races, that could be unaffiliated voters. A third of those voters said they would vote for a Republican candidate. Now, the poll was conducted by Emerson College and the parent company of our competitors across the street at Fox 31. David Flaherty of Magellan Strategies looked at the polling methods and results. He said that he thinks it's under-measuring Republican candidate strength by a couple of points. Colorado's population boom has earned us a new congressional district and countless political ads. Colorado's 8th congressional district is getting national attention because it's possible the winner could determine the balance of power in Congress. Politics guy Marshall Zelinger takes back control of the truth test machine.
Colorado's new 8th congressional district covers parts of Adams, Larimer, and Weld counties. Political groups out of Washington, D.C. are spending millions on political ads because the winner could help determine which political party has control of the House in Congress. As of September 1st, Congressional District 8 had 46% unaffiliated voters, 27% Democrats, and 24% Republicans. While I was away, Kyle filled in admirably.
That needs context.
But I'm back for the truth tests, starting with one paid for by the Congressional Leadership Fund, which is connected with Republican House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy.
Caraveo was proud of her bill that could kill thousands of Colorado energy jobs. It was called a threat to livelihoods across the state.
Let's slow down and separate the different claims here. Yes, in a 2020 Denver Post candidate questionnaire, Caraveo said she was proud prime sponsor of the 2019 bill that changed how oil and gas would be regulated in Colorado, with a focus on public health and safety. She did not say she was proud because it could kill thousands of jobs or be a threat to livelihoods. And because of COVID-19, we don't exactly know how much of that is because of the bill. Data from the state's Department of Labor and Employment shows direct oil and gas employment is down 12,000 jobs from March 2019 to March 2022. That's 37%. In that same time frame, oil and gas-friendly states have also had a decline in oil and gas jobs. Texas is down 25%, Alaska 32%, and Wyoming down 40%.
She pushed a gas tax hike and the elimination of Tabor to fund her extreme agenda.
This is a bit extreme itself. Caraveo did not push a gas tax hike, but she voted yes for the 2021 bill that was going to add a new gas fee of 2 cents for every gallon pumped. She also voted yes for the bill this past year that delayed that fee till next year, conveniently after the November election. And on the website she used when she ran for state representative, part of her platform was to end Tabor and let the state keep money that currently gets refunded back to residents. Tabor still exists. You know how you know Tabor still exists? That $750 or $1,500 check you just got? That was a portion of next year's Tabor refund. Caraveo also voted yes on a bill to get that money to you sooner. She is among the Democrats who want to get rid of Tabor, but also voted to get you your refunded money faster from Tabor.
Okay. Never fear, there are more ads for you to check out. What do you have in store?
Well, there are multiple ads in this race, and tomorrow there's one anti-Barb Kirkmeyer, also from a Washington, D.C. group, so we're going to take a closer look at that tomorrow.
All right. It's so good to have you back, Marshall.
Thank you.
Well, we do have more Tabor news for you. Tabor refunds are coming back to Coloradans for the next 4 years. At least that's based on budget forecasts presented to Colorado lawmakers today. Here's the thing, though. Even while we're getting money refunded back to us, state lawmakers may still need to make cuts during those years. Because of Tabor, Colorado's budget can only increase each year based on an equation of inflation plus population. But the inflation rate used for that equation is not in real time. There's a 6-month lag. So while Colorado lawmakers are currently budgeting based off of current inflation and current costs, Tabor is limiting how much Colorado can keep and spend based on a lower inflation rate from earlier this year. So even though we're projected to get Tabor refunds for the next couple of years, the state could still face those tighter budget limits. A report from the nonpartisan Colorado Legislative Council staff presented to the state's Joint Budget Committee today says recession risk is elevated and the state is lowering its general fund expectations because of lower income and sales tax revenue. There are more than 40 environmental groups that have something to say to Suncor. They have launched a new complaint about a pipeline expansion. They say it's going to increase toxic emissions in communities that are already struggling with pollution. The groups filed that petition today with federal and state agencies, calling on them to put a stop to Suncor's Line 1 Rocky Mountain Pipeline project that's running from Wyoming to Colorado. The petition says Line 1 would expand on an existing line that is running across the South Platte River and nearly triple the amount of crude oil that is transported to the Suncor refinery in Commerce City. Environmental advocates are arguing that pipeline expansion is violating laws like the Colorado Climate Action Plan to reduce pollution. The goals of that is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, especially in disproportionately impacted communities like Weld and Adams County. Now, because the project is an expansion rather than a new pipeline construction, the petition was arguing that residents didn't get to weigh in during a public comment period. We did reach out to Suncor today about this petition, but have not heard back yet. A high-ranking sergeant is suing her department and accusing Denver police of discrimination. Students struggling with dyslexia can fall behind early, and school districts realized they needed to change the way they were helping kids. Music can be a universal language.
Well, you could see this spirit of that friendship.
And it's uniting musicians in Denver and strangers overseas. Next.
The countdown is on. Less than an hour until we can officially welcome in the fall season, but didn't it feel like it today? Some scattered showers, mostly cloudy skies, and now this evening I saw a rainbow downtown Denver. It was beautiful about a half hour ago, and now some sunshine starting to push in. Just shy of an inch, but hey, we're inching a little closer to our average, which is so nice to see for the month of September. Daytime highs topping off in the 50s and 60s across the eastern plains. Up into the mountains, believe it or not, it was a bit warmer. Isolated scattered showers continuing across the eastern plains as they track off into parts of Kansas and Nebraska tonight. Otherwise, that little shower that pushed through Denver, now in Aurora, not a big deal, with a few more isolated rain showers up there toward Estes Park. Everything clearing out tonight. By about 11 o'clock, we will be looking at patchy fog off to the eastern plains, but clearing skies early tomorrow morning, and then a beautiful Friday on deck for us as we have mostly sunny skies. This ridge of high pressure starts pushing back into much of the west, and that's going to be bringing us a huge warm up back to the upper 70s, low 80s for the metro area, and we stay there as we look ahead through the weekend and beyond.
All right, thank you, Danielle. A high-ranking Denver police sergeant has filed a federal discrimination complaint against her department. Sergeant Carla Havard, one of just a few black female officers in Denver police, says she's faced retaliation for bringing up concerns regarding gender and race discrimination within the department. Sergeant Havard, seen here participating in a community conversation about race, says in the complaint she called for an investigation after fellow female officers spoke publicly about sexism and misogyny they faced on the job. She cites examples of women who said their superiors had caressed and played with their hair and regularly were making comments about women's bodies. Sergeant Havard says that she was put on a performance improvement plan after calling for an investigation. She argues that her superiors have characterized her as the stereotype of an angry black woman. The Denver Police Department declined to comment on the complaint, but said they have taken a number of strides in recent years to improve internal and external equity practices. We are going to hear more from Sergeant Carla Havard tomorrow when Katie Eastman sits down with her for an interview. We rely and we expect firefighters to show up when we need their help. But a system that they were hoping to rely on when they fell sick fell short. Now the city of Denver is giving their first approval to change how it's handling claims when a firefighter is diagnosed with cancer. Colorado used to handle these cancer claims through workers' comp. Eligible firefighters would be able to get their medical bills fully covered. But proving their cancer was connected to the job was so difficult, and people were waiting as long as 6 months to hear back while being treated for cancer at the same time. So 5 years ago, the state created a program that was called the Voluntary Cancer Benefits Program, just to streamline things. Denver has been looking into if moving into FEGAP was going to make the most sense and just gave that first approval. The city's Department of Finance says under the current system, Denver firefighters have filed 58 cancer claims. 27 of those were denied, about 46%. That is not too far from the statewide number of 50-50 shot at getting that coverage. Early intervention and help can make such a huge difference for kids with dyslexia. But first, you have to know what's going on. So we're seeing school districts in Colorado screening for dyslexia. The state has a small pilot program, and some districts are working on their own programs. Boulder Valley Schools started its screening pilot program at 10 schools. They started this 2 years ago in the thick of the pandemic. Now they're expanding it to all of the district's nearly 1,700 kindergartners this year. Students take 5 tests to determine if they're showing any of the characteristics of dyslexia. Michelle Kazi, the director of literacy for Boulder Valley, says that catching it early can be key to helping students down the road.
We know that the earlier we can screen for dyslexia, the earlier we can intervene, and then the better off that student's life is. I mean, reading is so essential in our society. And so if you struggle to read, that impacts every aspect of your life.
Boulder Valley is offering the test in Spanish as well. Colorado's Department of Education says dyslexia is affecting 15 to 20% of the population, which makes it the most commonly diagnosed learning disability. The state's pilot program is so far being used in 4 schools. Musicians representing Denver head overseas and carrying with them some valuable life lessons.
It was just a magical moment. And I said, this is the way the world should be.
And hopping for a couple of miles into the record books is the most Colorado thing we saw today. Music can bridge communities across geography and language barriers, and musicians from Denver learned that lesson during a trip to France where they were bonding with strangers over jazz.
Brest is on the coast of France. Brest is Denver's oldest sister city since 1948. I've been in places where I couldn't speak the language. As soon as the music has started, people just got together. It's the international language. I am Pernell Steen, and I'm the founder of the 5 Points Ambassadors. We drove along that street right there. It was a great honor to represent Denver's jazz community. All of a sudden, here it is, America and France. The red carpet was out everywhere we walked, everywhere we went, and we played at a school. That was the highlight of the trip for all of us, because to see the joy on these kids' faces, for all of us, that was the crowning point of the trip. And that was the thing, to be able to share friendship through music. Just instant friendship. It was just a magical moment. And I said, this is the way the world should be. And I said, just be a light in the dark world. Everywhere you go, let your light shine. I said, I hope we left a good sense of Denver with them. I think we did. And I truly felt, I said, you know what? We truly are ambassadors of goodwill. And that's the power of music.
Thanks to photojournalist Corky Scholl for that story. Brest, France was Denver's first sister city. It was established in 1948 and started after students and a teacher in Denver raised $32,000 to help the city rebuild after World War II. Well, the most Colorado thing we saw today is a 1-2 hop. We've got that and your feedback next. Well, the most Colorado thing we saw today is a very unique addition to Chatfield State Park. Lauren sent us a picture of hopscotch in the progress. Says that she saw people drawing out the grid on the trail last week. A group called Generation Wild was inviting people to continuously hopscotch for 4.5 miles Sunday morning for a world record, and they successfully hopped their way into the history books. If you see something that says Colorado, share it with the hashtag HeyNext or email next@9news.com. Hey, Jim has a shout out from Marshall saying he's so easy to understand. He presents a balanced view. Jim, I couldn't agree more. I sit next to him and I learn something every day. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.